Hello everyone. I wanted to take a couple minutes just to talk to you about the next section of our learning. And our textbook really talks a lot about self-efficacy for students. What does that really mean? What does that look like? And I think one thing to consider is that when students are really getting themselves ready to read a textbook or an informational text, you really want to help support them in the metacognitive work on how do I orient myself to a text? What do I really think about so that it can improve their self-efficacy, so that they feel good about the work and what it takes as I engage myself with a text. And so one particular resource that I've been really looking towards, it's not a required text, it comes with the Lucy Calkins Units of Study, or you can order it through Heinemann Publications, is the Reading Pathways book, which is filled with various performance assessments and learning progressions with different genres. One area in particular that I really want us to focus on is this particular learning progression. So if we're thinking about self-efficacy and students really believing that they can do the work, the beginning point of this work really involves thinking about what do I do when I pick up a text? What do I do before reading? So our text itself, our reading, talked a lot about pre-reading strategies and different types of strategies that students can engage in, whether it's thinking deeply about vocabulary or what questions do I have about the text, or how do I self-question myself just picking up the text. I think we want to think too about, just as we progress across learning and progress across orienting ourselves to the text, what does this work really look like? So we know for some of our beginning friends that really thinking about those steps and what I have to do, we can't jump from this type of learning, regardless if you're in second grade or a fourth grade learner reading below grade level. We can't jump from this type of work to a fourth or fifth or sixth grade work or beyond if we don't have mastery of some of these essential skills. So we really want to think about those metacognitive skills and give them to students in a step-by-step way so that they can engage with the work. So let's just think about in second grade some of the differences as we move across. So orienting themselves in second grade, before I read, I use the title, illustrations, back blurb, headings, and table of contents, if there is one, to predict what I will learn from reading this text. When asked to, I can show the parts of the text that led to my predictions. So what happens when I open that text? What am I thinking about? Where am I as a learner? And how do I do this work? And then in third grade, they're going to need to do everything that they did at the second grade level in an informational text, except for they're going to lift a little bit higher. So let's think about that lift. Before I read, I preview the text. I also study the table of contents, if there is one, the title, introductions, headings, and subheadings, and illustrations. I do this to decide what to read and also to predict the major subtopics that I will learn about. I also notice if this is an expository or a narrative nonfiction biography text to organize myself to get started learning from the text. First, I'll probably learn. Then I'll learn. So you'll notice that that thinking sounds a lot different for that third grade learner and even orienting themselves with the text. And then the trajectory continues on, adding more skills and strategies leading up to sixth grade, which we know is a fairly fluent reader in what the work that they'll have to do to be able to engage in the text. So students' belief system really starts to change as they start to identify with the goals and strategies within each level of the text. So think deeply about this as you're thinking about the strategies that are set forth in this portion of our reading, and where would you say students were in your classroom thinking about this level of work, and what's a next step for your students?